All right. We want to thank everybody for joining us, and hopefully we'll get a few more as a few minutes go by, and then obviously some other things happening at 6 o'clock as well. But we're super excited to have you join us, and we definitely have some elements that we definitely want to share. Obviously, some different things have happened in the recent day or two that have been unexpected. And if you have questions or things that come up about that, definitely reach out to me at school, and happy to talk to you. Happy to send me emails and I'll respond that way as well. But everything was brand new to me on Monday, about an hour before everybody here found out about it. So definitely some things that we will have to work through and work towards. But we will definitely get through it, and hopefully we can figure different things out for our students. Some of you may love it because it lets your kids sleep a little bit longer, but definitely things that we need to work through, and we will help in any way that we can. So please let us know if you have any questions, concerns, or thoughts as we work through. I was talking today to district office in regards to sports and how that's going to impact us, and we will have a plan in place to make sure that kids can continue to play sports no matter what. They will have an option to do that. So all that will be taken care of. But again, if you will have questions or want to discuss that, please just give me a call or send me an email, and I will talk to you more about that another time. But right now, we do want to make sure, we've our quarter in, and we've had a great first quarter, especially with everything going on in the world. We are super excited about what's happening. Mr. Williams is going to kick us off tonight with information about our Title I pieces, because that is definitely something that we benefit from here at KTech, and he's going to share a lot about that. So I'll let Mr. Williams go ahead and take over. Thanks.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. I see my mic vibrating, so looks like it's good to go here. If you can see on your screen, it looks like you can, for me at least. This is the SMORE, which is a fancy lingo for electronic newsletter that we can put links and information on that's easy to send out to folks. But if you're here on this Zoom, then obviously you got the SMORE, and you were able to, scroll to this link here for the annual Title I meeting. Just wanted to go through the agenda for the evening. We're going to talk briefly this, at the beginning here about our Title I programs. And I think that's relevant for everybody on the call because obviously we're a Title I school, and we have a lot of families who need some good information about how they can find some additional support to send students to colleges and universities. But so we'll talk about that briefly. And I will warn you that I am not the highlight of the evening. Obviously, I'm the opening act, and then we will move into, two different sessions, and you can choose your own destiny here with this. With session 1 and session 2, we have representatives from PHSC, also University of Florida and FSU in both of these sessions. And really the information that they're going to share related to, planning for financial aid and the FAFSA process is universal in the sense that it would really apply to any college or university. So, but after I finish, go back to the SMORE. That's the important thing, and hit these links to the different other, presentations that we have this evening that you can get some good information from. And then at the end, I want to remind everybody that we want to get your feedback on the quality of tonight's program. And so just, click on this link here at the bottom of the SMORE that says participant survey. It's just like a couple questions to give us some feedback about how we can do a better job with these type of things. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second here and switch to the Title I stuff that I have ready for us. So let me share that. I'll get us kicked into this. All right, so hopefully you can see this. So I've kind of already gone through the agenda, but specific to the Title I stuff, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about what Title I is, what it means, what are your rights as parents and families under Title I, what we do with our money that we get from the district is passed through from the state and federal government for our Title I programs. Talk a little bit about our parent and family engagement piece of that, information about curriculum and assessments, and our process of trying to communicate with parents and families, and then give you some time at the end especially since we only have 16 participants tonight to ask some questions. So feel free to chime in with some questions about what's going on. I already kind of talked about this. So I'm flipping forward to just the Title I overview. So basically, Title I funds are federal funds that have been allocated since the 60s, basically to level the playing field for schools that serve a large population of students who come from poorer families. Students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And that the idea is that with that extra infusion of cash, that we can amp up some supports and programs for students to put them on a level playing field with the students who've come from more advantaged families that attend more affluent type schools. So that's where we are. One of the things that I brought up again, and I apologize because I legitimately tried to update this information, although this is still from 2018. So while my doctoral professors would not accept this data because it's 5 years out or more, it's the best I can find, at least related to the state of Florida. And I shared this last year, and I will continue to try to find it updated moving forward. But really, this draws a comparison between students and different demographic groups and their performance in reading and mathematics. And so, to illustrate my point here is at one time I had asked a program director at the U.S. Department of Education that I met at a conference one time. I said, wouldn't it be better to put the money to the lower performing schools and not necessarily those schools that are have high free and reduced lunch rates, increased number of students who need additional supports economically disadvantaged. Sorry, I'm stumbling here a little bit. And basically, he said there's a strong correlation between school performance and high numbers of students who are economically disadvantaged or who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And so I cited a school that I worked with here in Hernando County. And I said, well, I've got a Title I school that outperforms a non-Title I school. And coincidentally, the school that I currently work at and love is Wendell Crane Technical High School, is a Title I school that outperforms some non-Title I schools on a regular basis. But he draw the correlation. He says that typically on the national average that really there is a strong correlation between high poverty, economically disadvantaged, and lower academic performance. And this really shows that basically that of those students who were in the lowest performing 25% bottom quartile of all students tested, that a much larger percentage, 70% in reading and math, were economically disadvantaged. So that holds true. And so this is the reason why we have Title I funds. Anyway, going on to where we're at as a school. And so I give you a snapshot of our Q1 data and our student count and information here is basically that we are at currently 56% of students and families qualify for free and reduced lunch, and that's essentially our Title I percentage. That's down 5 percentage points from the previous school year. And so that could be attributed to several factors, including the fact that we haven't had to certify, and basically lunch and breakfast has been free for everyone for the last 2 years because of COVID and other things. So we're probably, I'm going to be honest with everybody, at the bottom of the list of schools that qualify based on that percentage. You have to, by federal statute, be 40% or better free and reduced lunch to qualify. But then districts rank their schools by the percentage of free and reduced lunch, and then determine which schools are going to qualify for Title I funds. So we're hanging on by a thread, and based on what I'm going to tell you in a second and how that helps us out as a school, hope that families consider this and get the word out to everyone else in the coming years when we have to do that application for food and nutrition for free and reduced lunch, that we get as many as possible to fill that out and see what we get. It's even more challenging at the high school level. All right, so we're at 56%. Like I said, we're down 5 percentage points from the previous year. Under Title I, we these are your parental rights. So the things that you have a right to know as a parent at a Title I school, and you probably have already gotten letters to this effect, based on teachers' certifications and whatnot, is that, what for those teachers that we have, what are their degrees, what are the certifications, and then what are those teachers who are not highly qualified and are not certified in field that are teaching at our school. And we're very fortunate at K-Tech that we, for the most part, we just have a handful of teachers that are working on like an ESOL certification or some other things that are pretty common, are out of field. But at other schools, there's, because of staffing issues related to some of the changes we've gone through recently, not everyone is highly qualified. And then information, you have the right to know information about our Title I programs, our curriculum, our assessments, and then what establishes your child's proficiency level on our state assessments. And then we also do this thing called the School Parent Compact. And so I blasted out a couple of weeks ago an attachment to the School Parent Compact. Is something that we've typically done at the orientation day in the past and get everybody to sign. But basically, it's a contract between parents, students, and the school about how we're going to support those students in being successful here. And we've outlined some things in there. So most of you received that. Because of COVID and the restrictions that we have to that, we don't really require, as we have in the past, everybody to sign that, but you have received it. If you need any more information about that, please let me know. But it's a pretty interesting document talking about what are we all responsible for as part of this relationship and helping your kid graduate. All right, so in terms of our budget for Title I this year, total for the year is $91,770. So that's a pretty good chunk of change. Everyone, we really need that. And let's go through what we use it for in a second, but we're down a bit. So typically the way that it's divvied up at district is that it's a per pupil rate for students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. So based on our percentage and our student count, it's sort of divided into the total pot of funds that Pasco County gets. And then each school gets a share based on the students that they serve who qualify for free and reduced lunch. So because our numbers in terms of qualification have gone down, so has our funding. But we use these funds to hire an additional discipline assistant. That discipline assistant works not in discipline as much as they focus on two very important factors for us. One is academic performance. So running our ZAP program. You probably know zeros are not permitted at K-Tech. And so if you accrue zeros and your teachers refer you to ZAP, you spend lunch in the academic lunch program and you work on getting those assignments made up. And so that's one of the things that he does. And then also in working on our attendance. And as you know, we have to be in school in order to be successful. So making some calls, letting everybody know, and trying to figure out how we can get these students in school. Extended school day, that's the abbreviation for ESD. So if you didn't know that, we have salaries for extended school day and then transportation. One of the things that I wear as a badge of honor is that for the past 3 years as a school, this is year 4, we've always operated an extended school day program. Not all high schools do that. But when we started getting into a little bit of trouble with attendance and COVID and things going awry, all of the other schools followed suit and put extended school day programs in place. But that's something that we do and is a really good intervention for our students and families to get extra time and help to work on their schoolwork. And then we provide buses back to the hub high school stops at the end of those days on, it's right now Monday and Wednesday. We pay for, it's required for us from the district to pay a percentage of the social worker's salary. We have technology subscriptions, so different things that we use to support students and teachers, Nearpod, the S'more. As you know, we can't buy software anymore like we used to and install it. We have to subscribe to it and pay an annual subscription. So yeah, that's some of the things that we use. PBIS is positive behavior interventions and supports. That's our rewards for students who are doing well, get cracking cash, and get to trade that in on various incentives. Posters Inc. Professional development is to send our teachers to different training opportunities that we have. Yeah, so we try to get our teachers to those trainings, and we're glad that that's opened back up to us because we can learn a lot from traveling outside our district and getting some different perspectives. And then finally, last but not least, that little bit of money that we put into printing and postage to families, and that's pretty much to support our recruiting efforts. As you know, we're a choice school, and so we have to kind of put our stuff out there every year to try to let parents and families and students know about the opportunities that are at K-Tech and get them to apply in that very short 14-day window that we get in January. So that's how we use our funds. I need to look at my time. I'm already behind time. Anyway, so in terms of parent and family engagement events is kind of a list of the things that we do. We hope to grow this list as we get freed from the quarantine and restrictions, and we're able to invite our friends and families back on campus. One of the things that we have coming up on the near horizon is the Great American Teach-In on November 17th. And if you are a parent who does something interesting, especially related to one of our career and technical education programs at K-Tech, I invite you to please contact us and let us know that you're interested in presenting on that day. You can even do it virtually via Zoom so that students can benefit from all of your knowledge and experience that you've gained doing all what you do. So, and then we'll have another night like we have tonight in the spring where hopefully we'll be on campus and we'll be able to provide everyone with a catered dinner from Marchman's Culinary Arts program and talk about college applications and so on and so forth. So, and then recruiting events in there as well. In terms of curriculum, I just want to point you to some resources. I think the best way is, it says at the top there, for you as a parent to understand what your student is being expected to do and what's on the horizon for them is to create that parent account in Canvas and My Learning and log in, or what I do is make my daughter sign into her account while I'm staring over her shoulder and walk me through certain things. Other resources for you too are CPALMS, which is a Florida Department of Education website that has access to all of the standards and curriculum for pretty much every course offered at every school in the state of Florida. And so it gives you some really good information. So again, that's CPALMS. I'll pause there for a second so you can, I use that site all of the time, depending on different things that I'm involved in. In terms of assessments, I want to go through this. Again, this is required information. We have teacher developed tests and quizzes, as always, the same stuff that you and I know and love. Quarterly checks, we've added to the mix, and those are progress monitoring assessments, which are different from our summative assessments. It just kind of rate students and give them a performance level that then helps them to be placed later. These are things that help teachers design, improve instruction, and identify where students, gaps are that they can correct through some reteaching opportunities and whatnot. District end of course and end of unit. So every course in Pasco County has to have an end of course exam, whether that's principal approved or just district developed. And state end of course, EOC is end of course in those subjects for graduation. FSA, as we know and love, old FCAT, and then our standardized assessments across the board with through College Board, PSAT, ACT, SAT, and the military entrance placement test, ASVAB. So those are some of the assessments that we do. We do a lot of assessing. No joke. That's from the spring on, that's what we're pretty much engaged in with students. So in terms of our communication outlets, I'm not going to go through all of these, but just letting you know that, as the world turns and things change, we have really adapted our way of doing things. As you can see, we're on a Zoom tonight instead of in the media center at K-Tech, talking about Title I programs, but we've started to use Google Voice and texting through Google Voice and any way that we can get messages out to you. One of the one that's been important too is this Let's Talk. It's a button that's on our website that you can pretty much submit any question to us, and you'll get a pretty quick response on that. And district sees those as well. So, one of the things that we've seen of late, as Dr. Dunning alluded to, was the concerns from parents related to the proposed bell schedule changes. And just know that when you submit your concerns through that forum, that they are also seen by those at the district level who may influence those decisions moving forward. Okay, so at this point, I've got about 7 minutes left. So I did rush through the second half a little better. And just kind of want to open up the floor to questions from any of our 20 participants. Just unmute yourselves and I'll do my best. I'll look in the chat. I got 2 messages here. Thank you, Miss Paternostro. All right, well, I will hang here. That means I was so thorough in my presentation that I completely confused you. And you have no questions whatsoever. So I will hang here if you have any other questions. But that being said, remember, go back to the s'more. So this is where you're going to find the links to the 6 o'clock with FSU at UF, PHSC, etc. And I'll see you on there. And don't forget to complete the survey at the end. Like I said, it's quick and it helps us to make these programs better in the years to come.
Thank you for a great presentation, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson helped us line a lot of this up. And did you have anything you wanted to say before people are starting to jump over or anything, sir?
No, only that I'm very excited about the students that the administration has been recruiting, and your all's children continue to amaze us every day in the classes. I recognize some of the last names for the parents that are attending right now, and I'm blessed to have you all in my class. They're just doing amazing. Maybe those DE kids got a little rowdy with the midterm, but they're pretty awesome. You should ask your kids about their midterm if they're in DE US history, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy kids. But thank you all for coming. I'll see you guys in the university presentations.
And we are in the midst of our recruitment time because November 15th will be our parent night for Pasco Pathways. And obviously students will be applying again January 6th through 20th. And so if you can help spread the word, we definitely want to make sure we increase our numbers. I think with COVID, we were hoping to be right around the 650 this year, which is the goal of our school. But we're down to 588. I think a lot of families who had kids on buses or different things like that decided not to do that. And we'd like to keep our teachers getting the pay that they receive, because if they teach 6 out of the 7 classes, they get a little bonus. And so to keep that, we need to get our kids back up to that 650 mark or slightly above that to give us a buffer. So I'm out recruiting, and if you guys can help out, we definitely appreciate your going out and doing that as well and sharing the word about our school. There's definitely some empty seats. Like welding only had 2 9th graders apply this year. So we definitely are looking for these great opportunities to get utilized by our families, and we still won't get to ever what the other high schools are. So we definitely could use your assistance in getting other families to know about the amazing place that K-Tech is. So thanks. And we'll give you a minute to go over to that s'more and jump on to one of those other sessions. Thanks. Anybody left need help getting to this more so that they can go over to one of the other sessions? I think I'll go ahead and end this one. Mr. Williams, to let everybody jump over. Thank you
All right.
very much. Good job, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.